If you're just getting started, YouTube analytics can seem super daunting, but it doesn't have to be. And the truth is that not understanding and reading your analytics is like not understanding and checking your budget, or like not wanting to see test results your doctor ran. You can ignore the information if you want to, but only at your own detriment. If you want to grow on YouTube, you need to understand this. Welcome to Creator People. I'm Brandon, and in this video, I'm going to be sharing the absolute basics of what you need to know to understand YouTube analytics. And I'm going to show you the most important analytics you need to look at. For this exercise, we're going to use this video from my wife's channel on how to make cold brew coffee. And the first metric we're going to look at is views, but this is actually not the most important. It is a really great indicator of the health of a video or your channel, but it actually isn't the most helpful for interpreting what you did right or wrong with a video. Rather, your views are just a fruit of whatever kind of seed you've planted and watered and cultivated, which you can learn more about by looking at the other metrics we're going to look at. So views are important, but they're not going to tell you how to fix your videos. As we're looking at the rest of these metrics in your YouTube analytics, the thing you need to understand is that YouTube is a business. They make money when people run ads on your content and people watch those ads. And the way for them to get more people to watch your ads is for them to keep more people with their eyes glued to the screen on your video for longer. And if your video is keeping people on the screen for longer, they'll see more ads, YouTube gets more money, and so they'll show your video more. But conversely, if people aren't watching your video for very long, they're not going to show it to as many people because they will lose money by doing so. So the thing we really need to start looking at is watch time, but watch time by itself isn't a thing. We need to look at two specific metrics. We need to look at your average view duration, or AVD, and your average percentage viewed, or APV. Now, this gets dicey because they get very confused. These are not the same thing, but they are related to one another. See, what YouTube really wants is a longer AVD, average view duration. So you might think, well, if I just make longer videos, I will get more plays. Maybe, but if people are watching 1 minute of a 100-minute video, it's not as good as if they're watching 2 minutes of a 4-minute video. So the thing we focus on to increase your AVD, your average view duration, is actually the APV, the average percentage viewed, because we can see what's working and not working throughout the video and change the way we plan and shoot and edit so that we keep eyeballs on the screen for longer. This is something I spent a lot of time working on with students in my one-on-one coaching programs. If you want information on that, you can actually get a free consult by clicking on the link below. But the thing you really need to understand is that your video needs to be interesting. Now, that doesn't mean you need to be Mr. Beast. It wouldn't hurt to be a little more beast-like for some folks, but having things changing on the screen makes a big difference here. And you can actually see it in your trends. So when you go and look at your watch time, I want you to look at both of these numbers. You can see on this video, she's just about 49%. It's not stunningly amazing. It's not horrible. It's okay. It's fine, but it's at least fine. And because it was fine and people watched the video that much, and they got value out of it, and they commented, and they liked, it also has gotten nearly 47,000 views since it was published, and it keeps getting clicks. Make sure you watch this whole thing because we're going to talk about click-through as well. That's a big deal. But the really important thing to remember is that this is very impacted by this, and if you work on people watching more of your video, then you can work on longer videos if you want to. But first, you got to get them to stick around. Now, what about those click-through rates? This is something you really need to study well. And you can see here on this one, 5.9%. That's actually pretty good. There are entertainment-style channels and even some educational-style channels that might be getting much better rates than that on some videos. But if you get a rate above 5%, you can feel decent about that. But even though I say that, that's not a hard and fast rule. Usually when your videos come out, you can expect a much higher click-through ratio because your core audience is seeing them first via either notifications or their subpage or something like that. And they're more likely to click because they know your face. Great. But as it starts being shown to a wider audience, they're less likely to click. So your click-through ratio, your CTR, will naturally go down. But how much it goes down actually depends on how much YouTube shares your video. A really good example of this is actually a video my wife just put out yesterday. And you can see the click-through ratio is only 3.4. That's actually not bad because as you can see here with the impressions, this is the other metric you need to look at. The impressions were pretty low, and then suddenly, and I changed the thumbnail, other conversation there, they jumped up far greater than they usually do. And since there were so many more people who have no idea who she is seeing this video, far less of them, percentage-wise, were clicking. But you can still see the views jumped up. If you're getting that kind of a shape in your graph, it's okay. Your click-through ratio can go down. Nobody's gonna be mad. And actually, YouTube, on the mobile at least, will give you a little notification that tells you it's okay that it's gone down. It's not affecting your view count. But the important takeaway here is actually that your impressions and your click-through ratio have a complicated relationship. And that works together along with your watch time metrics to inform how much YouTube is going to promote your video. And yes, it is way more complicated than that. And I've got content on the channel already and new content coming soon showing you how to improve your watch time. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss more of that when it comes out. But for now, just remember, watch time, including AVD and APV, as well as the relationship between your CTR and your impressions, informs the amount of views you get, not the other way around. And even a 2% click-through ratio might be okay if you're getting hundreds of thousands of impressions. But if watch time's where you're struggling a little more right now, I recently made a video sharing the easiest ways to improve viewer engagement and extend your watch time. So after you hit subscribe, go ahead and click here to watch that.